everyone, it's me, Carol from Practical Mystic. Thanks for joining me today. Are you interested in seeing and learning and doing a self-diagnostic test, which is going to show you where you are on your spiritual progress, as well as other insights and information? No, I didn't create this. It was created by someone that you may know if you are a tarot reader or beginning tarot or studying tarot. It was created by Angelise Arian. She is the author that you are looking at now, the Tarot Handbook, Practical Applications of Ancient Visual Symbols. No, the system is not in this book, but I wanted to present you this book because that's how I got to know her and use her. She is an anthropologist who specializes in the cross-culture, myths, symbols, and rituals, and it takes tarot out of what she calls the mere fortune-telling context. And of course, this book features the Aleister Crowley Thaw deck. It has to do with a lot of symbology, psychology, mythology, and also the cross-culture perspective of the tarot. It's a fascinating book. It's a little deep. It's not anything that I would recommend for a beginner, but this is how I wanted to introduce you to Angelise Arian if you don't know her, and jump from that to tell you that around the same time, about 1987, 1988, she participated in an international group and symposium of very, very distinguished tarot teachers and practitioners. And it was there that she presented what I'll be discussing with you here in this video. Now, in a very condensed form, because of how she came about it, there's a lot of research about it. She did 7 years of research working with myth, culture, symbols, and that's what led her to believe that there is no place on this planet where imagery and symbols are not used. And I think anyone in metaphysics, anyone that works with alchemy, esoteric knowledge realizes the importance of images, symbols, archetypes. Now, that led her also to discover that these shapes were basically, the hardest proof was that these shapes were found globally in artwork. Now, trying to conclude the whole story of how she went about the years of research, she found that these same shapes are universal, and if that is the case, she questioned how that affects human psyche and produces those shapes in our mind, in our culture, and around the world. And lastly, she discovered that these 5 shapes were not only global in all artwork, but she found that 95% of the cultures, the mythology, the folklore, the psychology, and spiritual practices of these 5 symbols, shapes, were universal, and that is how she produced her meanings. Okay, that's basically where I want to go with that right now. What are the 5 shapes? Well, you may want to pause the video. I should have said this earlier, but you are going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, something to write on, and something to draw these shapes. So I'm just going to put this aside right now while maybe you pause the video and you go ahead and get something that you can write on so you can take this particular test here with me today. All right. Now I'm also going to put this cloth so that you can see the symbols a little better. And here are the universal symbols that is in all art forms. And as you can see, there are 5. We have the circle, the triangle, the square. Now this is considered a cross or a plus sign, and Angeles makes it well known that it is not a religious cross. It is equal arms, and it has nothing to do with a symbol with religious intent. So it is a plus sign or an equilateral 2 lines across. Also, we have the spiral. All right, so here's what I want you to do. And I think that's important for you to know that back in 1989, up till 95, I was teaching and doing this particular exercise in workshops for self-discovery, as well as tarot classes, which we'll get into a little bit more later on. So I'm familiar with this, and I do want to say that I took it myself. It's very revealing. It's very accurate. It's and everybody that has worked with it has had an aha moment. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You just basically are going to settle back a few seconds and maybe just take a couple deep breaths, okay? And with kind of nice relaxed eyes, you are going to basically look at your preferred shape. And that preferred shape, you're going to place a number 1 next to it. Whatever it is, whether it's the circle, the triangle, the square, the cross, or the spiral, your preferred shape gets number 1. Now, the second shape that you are attracted to, or you say, yeah, that's kind of, it might have been my first choice, but no, I'm still gonna stay with that one. There's where you want to put number 2 next to that shape. Number 3, of course, is going to come in third, and you'll put a number 3 where it's like a middle ground. It doesn't really, you like it, but it doesn't really capture your attention. That's where number 3 is. And then, of course, continue with 4. And where you're putting number 5 certainly is your least favorite, right? It's coming in 5th. So it's one that, you have a little resistance to. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, now here is where we are going to talk about the meaning of the position, and we're going to get into the interpretation of what the shapes mean. Remember, 95% of the culture agree that there are meanings, interpretations of these shapes. We're going to get into that. But right now we are going to go into the meaning of the position. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here. And yes, I do have them for you to kind of read along with me as I continue to describe it. I'm going to get up here quickly, make sure this is seen easily on your monitor. Yep. Okay, excellent. All right, so here are the meanings of the positions, all right? Position number 1. That's where you're currently have your attention, okay? And in parentheses, I put the source of inspiration, and it's where you think you are now, okay? Or you wish that you were now. So you're being inspired wherever you put the number 1. So, and it has your attention, okay? Position number 2 is your inherent strengths and natural abilities. And this is whether or not you are aware of it. And it's no effort on your part. Again, these are natural strengths and abilities that you have. And most of the times, it's your friends, family members, other people that see this in you and will even express it or give you feedback on these abilities. Okay, so that's position number 2. Wherever it was, whether you put number 2 for the circle, the triangle, the square, the cross, or the spirals, that is where you have this natural ability. Okay, hang in there. Remember, we said we're going to talk about what the interpretations of the shapes are. Right now, you're looking to see the meaning of the position you applied for these 5 shapes. All right, now number 3 is very important. It is the process occurring in your nature that you may be overlooking. And it is a source of unlimited creativity. Interesting that number 3, we do find in numerology a creative number. And here it is in this symbol. And whatever symbol you use, that is the process occurring in you, but you may be overlooking it. And a lot of times people will say, well, why am I overlooking it? It's because you're focusing more on position 1, what's gotten your attention. So if you attend to whatever the meaning is of number 3 in your shape, you will find abilities for unlimited creativity, some healing, also ability to face maybe change or challenges that have been put in your life right now. It's also important because this position, it's the place where a lot of archetypes or nature is also trying to get your attention, but you're overlooking it. Again, why? Because right now you are focused on what you like, what got your attention, what you're desiring, which is number 1. So number 3, I like to say, is the key of understanding. It's where your creativity is. It's where solutions are found. All right, number 4 shows the hidden task, an uncomfortable poke that got your attention, okay? By undertaking this task, and I put in parentheses, it was a test, it moved and brought you to where you are now, which is position number 3. Isn't that fascinating? So it shows that hidden test, that poke, what was uncomfortable, and that was the impetus for where you are now. And where you currently are, you may agree with or not agree with on a conscious level, but on an unconscious level, it's where that spiritual growth is, that burst. So again, where that was in the number 4th shape that you put on your page here. Okay, 5. Nope, 3, 4, I'm sorry. Yes, we are on number 5. Number 5 is the process about which you still have some judgments. Or do and or want to put behind you. Remember, it was your least favorite. It may be a process that you basically are outgrowing it. It's something that you're no longer wanting to put a lot of energy towards. It lacks interest for you. So number 5, your least preference of the 5 symbols is really something that maybe you've outgrown. You want to put it on the back burner. You want to put it away. You don't want to put any energy towards it. And it's something that, as I put in parentheses, that you may have outgrown this particular spiritual growth process that that symbol represents. So that's going to be quite interesting. Okay, are you ready now for the what Angeles calls the attributions of the 5 universal shapes? All right, now I want your attention very quickly. I went ahead and I put the shapes here, and these are the universal meanings. I will expound on them a little more here. These are really important key words that open up the imagination, that open up the consciousness and the unconscious. And then you're going to see here that she also relates the tarot, the major arcana tarot cards, to these 5 universal shapes. So I wanted you to have those. And my suggestion is to look to see if, well, you know what your year card is probably for this year. Then see what shape that is. And your life lesson or your tarot card, you might want to look at that, as well as if you log in and do your readings, your tarot readings, see if these major cards present themselves for the whole year repetitively. Now, you're going to notice that there are the 22 cards, but you may be looking for what is called the Wheel of Fortune. Angeles puts that under the square, and she calls it the 4 universal energies. So the Wheel of Fortune is the number 10 and the 4 universal energies, and that is definitely the square where we have the 4 fixed signs in the tarot. We have Aquarius, we have Scorpio, we have Leo, and we have Taurus. Those are the 4 fixed signs, and they represent the 4 elements. Of course, air, water, fire, and earth. And she calls it the 4 universal energies. So all of the 22 major cards are here. Important for you to see that. All right, so let me expound on this a little more. Okay, you have now, excuse me, the universal meanings of what the circle means, the triangle, the square, the cross, and the spiral. And if you put, let's say number 1 was the circle, you chose the circle, or wherever shape you have, wherever you chose the circle, it means that you are in a time of individuation, of independence, and you're seeking wholeness, because the circle tells you that you are in the process where you want space, you want freedom, you want others to trust in you enough that they give you your space, they let you explore on your own terms. Of course, there's an agreement there, there's a mutual respect and love of someone giving you your space, allowing you to do what you want. I will also be discussing what I call she calls the fear state of the process. I call it maybe the shadow, whatever you want to name it. It shows you the flip side of all of the processes when we are in this spiritual self-discovery modem that she's presenting. And the fear is when you're in this circle process, but you're being limited, okay? Or you have numerous obligations that are stopping you to have the freedom of individualization, of exploring, of rediscovering, of feeling like you're whole. So it has to do with anything that is restricting you. Okay, so what is the meaning of the triangle? Well, we know that in nature, the triangle really represents a mountain. It's a vision quest. So the triangle is envisioning, it's planning, it's seeking. And where you see yourself in this is what you're trying to find, discover. So when you are in a triangle process, you are good at long-term planning. You're wanting to take steps to reach your goals, and you're willing to take other people with you. You're willing to teach other people. You have endless possibilities. You're enthused. You're ready to go. And the fear, or the flip side of that, or the shadow side of that, is that you will lose that enthusiasm, or you'll fail before you achieve whatever your plans were or your goals. You become disenchanted, or there's a cog in the wheel and you say, this is never going to work. So you forfeit the whole thing, and you come down off your mountain and you don't reach the mountaintop. So that is the meaning of the triangle. Okay, the square. Now the square is a foundation setting, because what are you looking for? You're looking for stability, solidity, and security. So the square is saying, this is what I want to solidify. And when you are in the square process, you have a need for consistency and accountability, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. You need them to be responsible. You need them to be stable. You need them to work along with you, and also to be dependable. The fear when you are in the square process is that who you're depending on is not dependable, that they let you down. And their words have to be their honor, because another fear is it was all word and no action. So that is the square, very dynamic, powerful. Okay, let's talk about the cross. She also calls it the plus sign. And it's relationships. Here you have the Empress. It's integration. You've got the Lovers, and it's synthesis. So the cross, or the plus sign, I like to say, is the urge to merge. And there's where you are. You want to bring together two or more things for the greater whole. It's not about you. Like the circle here, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's or the square. It's about including others, blending, merging. So you are seeking unity. You're wanting to join. You want to give of yourself, and you want to listen to other people who are participating, and you're interested in them. The fear, or the shadow, is a loss of connection, not being included, being excluded, not being involved, and also a fear of abandonment, being left alone, not feeling part of the group. So that is the cross. And then finally, the spiral. The spiral is all about growth, evolution, and of course, change. You change as you're spiraling. When you're in the spiral process, there's a need for, you want variety, right? versatility, and of course flexibility, even the way the shape is. There's a sense of letting go and then adding to. You're evolving, you're growing. So you're in that process of releasing and looking for something new to replace it. And the fear for the spiral is that all that change, all that growth, all that work, all that flexibility, all of the letting go, all of the including, understanding, undertaking is for naught. You're not whole, or you feel like what you were seeking didn't give you the achievement you thought it was, or that sense of wholeness that you were striving for in the process. So those are the attributes of the universal shapes in this self-diagnostic tool, and I certainly hope this was helpful. Now, teaching this on the video and doing it in the workshop is certainly much different. I'm not able to answer questions, but please, in the description box, I will put my email address. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. And you can really run with this. It is quite in depth when you might do a short little meditation. But the meaning of the positions are very, very important. I have them here on your screen. So take a screenshot, folks, and we will talk again. Thanks, everyone, for joining me today. Bye for now.